I'm recording this on a Monday morning, and to be honest, I actually had recorded another video sort of talking about this same thing, but it sharpened up this morning and I wanted to share it with you. A lot of us are solving for the problem that we think is the problem, but it's not actually the problem. So it's Monday, and I remember a few years ago, David and I were in Maine. We were on vacation in beautiful, peaceful, calm, enjoyable Maine. And on a Monday, we were riding our bikes around like Maine, and I realized I caught a glimpse of it not feeling like a Monday. And I started thinking about things like, maybe I want to move somewhere that doesn't feel like Mondays, where, in New York or Los Angeles, the two places that I've spent the most time, it pretty much feels like a Monday, or it did, rather. So David and I have, many of you probably don't know this, but it's something I haven't really talked much about, but David and I started looking at moving about a year ago, I want to say. Actually, it was a year ago. It was my birthday, June 7th, 2025. We were in San Francisco, a city that I've always enjoyed. It's kind of the only place that I really thought, it's within reach, literally not that far, to move to. And there's, David could work there, I could work there. Quite possibly our professional lives would have even more opportunity than they do right now in Los Angeles. So we went to a restaurant called Chez Panisse by Alice Waters, and she's kind of like my favorite person ever. If you haven't seen her masterclass and you enjoy cooking and food, it's just remarkable. Literally my favorite masterclass ever. And we went to her restaurant in Berkeley, somewhere that I'd been several times. So we were up there having lunch, and this was about a year ago, and we looked at a house online just to see what it would cost. And pretty much if we want, there's not a lot of cute houses around our area for the price that you can buy a cute house for in Berkeley. And I like it. I like it up there a lot. And, so David and I went and looked, and then actually after our wedding in October, we went back to Berkeley again in November to check it out again, to look at some real, we got a realtor. We talked about selling our house here and what that would look like. And I like a lot about my life here. I like a lot about LA, but something told me that wherever you go, there you are. And if you're moving to try to fix a problem, you might want to investigate that. And I thought that, I challenged that thought, which I'll get to in a moment, but this a lot was precipitated by the desire to have a slower Monday, have a slower life. So, with Lucy coming and so excited about it, we decided that it's not the right time regardless, and to give it some more time. Interestingly, we were really serious about this. We had made an offer, I think. Oh, yeah. We did make an offer the last time on a house there. That would have been kind of cool. But it didn't go through, and, I was grateful for that. And it's interesting how much things have changed. I have identified that my place, or my next level of growth in my life right now, is largely around what I'm calling space. Giving myself space. And notice that I said giving myself space. Giving myself the space that I desire, that I have been identifying that I want. And a lot of times, we're solving for the wrong problem. What I uncovered in, working with my coaches my coaches was that I keep saying that I want this space, but I'm doing a little bit of a version of what I help my clients see that they're doing also, and that is, when I reach the success, then I'll give myself what I need, what I want. Anyways, all this to say, something has really changed over these past few months. And David and I were in Paris about 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, maybe. And a Monday morning in Paris, which is arguably a lot busier than where I live in Hancock Park, it was a Monday morning, and I felt that same space that I felt in Maine. Like, I noticed this. I slowed down. I was like, wow, this is crazy that it feels spacious right now. I've given myself space on that trip. And I noticed it a couple of times over the past month or so, and that's what made me, re-record this video. Sorry, I'm not all polished and everything, but that's what we do. When we're inspired, we, get in front of a camera and talk about it. And this is, what this week's Substack is all about too. But I noticed that space again this morning. I noticed it again a couple of weeks ago. And I have a client right now that was considering moving, and he still is, and that's beautiful for him. And there is a situation that he, would rather not be in geographically, and that's totally fine. If it is, like, every time I, go to this place, I think of this thing, and I don't want to anymore, and I feel inspired and blah, and like, there's this opportunity, that's fine in my opinion. But if you're like, I am sad here and I don't know what's going on inside me and I'm frustrated, and if I move to this city, everything's going to be fixed. I would challenge you on that the way that I challenge myself on that. I'm not sure if we're going to move. The more that I get to know myself and, really give myself the space to identify what I really want in life, I do think that there is a real honest desire to explore something that I didn't know this. Like a few years ago, I would have told you that I was happy at home in my yoga clothes all the time. And I am sometimes, but I think that there is a little adventure in me. I think about living internationally and just like what an amazing gift for a child to give them that sort of experience. So all this to say, what I've really done is give myself space. When I'm not proclaiming that this parenthood journey is not going to be unbelievably hard and there's going to be challenges far beyond what I can fathom right now. But I do know, I've said this many times, it wasn't exactly my first choice to be an older father like this. But at the same time, it has its benefits. I have learned how to, I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. I've learned how to realize that I do have choices. We all have choices. And sometimes choices don't feel very good. They don't feel easy. And they're not, but we do have choices where if we have Lucy and decide that we don't really want to work very much, hardly at all anymore, there are choices that we could take to absolutely do that and to lower our, to lower the financial need we have to keep up with this lifestyle that we might realize we don't want anymore on some levels. So, it's really funny because as a coach, I think there's this fantasy, some people say, well, I don't have coaching in my budget right now. That's kind of like saying I don't have the gym in my budget right now, which may be the case, but you will make room for that gym in your budget once you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you you're going to have a heart attack if you don't start working out more. So it's just, I think there's this like fallacy that people think that like there's this group of people, whether that be as a coach, the client, like there's this watering hole full of clients that are just waiting there that are going to say, oh my God, I have, 5 digits worth of money to invest in something and not feel any discomfort around that at all. I have, $200,000 to buy your professional services to benefit my business. It doesn't really work like that from my experience. What happens, we all, at least in the group of people who I serve and hang out with, most of us are learning to be okay with the abundance we have, with the financial resources we have. It's not that we don't need more, to live the life that we want to plan for retirement, but you really got to enjoy this journey. And enjoying the journey, and like whether you have, X or 10X sitting in your bank account right now, you're probably not sitting there saying, gosh, I mean, I'm just in a place where I can totally invest in something uncomfortable and feel no pain or no discomfort, rather, no discomfort. And I just invite you to think about that, that all of this is on the other, like everything beautiful, all of that we're looking to achieve, to, whether that be making a lot of money or, having a more spacious life, it's all on the other side of discomfort. And I, can't read the label from inside the jar for myself. I would, I've never seen anybody who really can challenge themselves fully in the way that, my coaches have helped me do. But when I look at this remarkable change that's happened on this Monday morning, seeing that nothing externally has changed. I don't have more money in my bank account today than I did, 3 months ago or 6 months ago. Actually, I probably have a little bit less now because of these unfortunate house repairs that we've had to do, and obviously with the massive investment we've made through surrogacy. So I have a baby coming, so there's more stress on that end. But what's changed is the way that I relate to all of this. And this is really at the end, I love saying this and I love that I came up with this, but when a client works with me, I came up with this and I love it. And it's like, I'm really helping them become themselves. I'm helping you become yourself again, or sometimes, a lot of times, as was the case for me, for the first time ever, to listen to those, to make sense of what is going on inside ourselves as we're changing, as we all change. Our identities are all changing as we're relating and experiencing what's going on in the world. Many of you probably know by now that I had a very amazing and vulnerable piece published in the LA Times this past weekend. It went out in print yesterday, actually. And it's been like, David asked me how I feel about this, and I mean, the reality is I don't feel that much different. Externally, it is cool to open up my Instagram and see, a new follower every 3 minutes, which is awesome. So it's cool, but at the end of the day, like my response when people ask me this is, this has been a character building journey that really it doesn't matter anymore about the outcome. I'm, in the business that I do, I've realized that I'm really looking, to sign on one new client at the time. And that's when I have space. I'm full for the next 2 months, actually. So it's interesting just to see that how much over these past couple of months I've gotten myself off of that autopilot feeling that I need to be doing more and actually giving myself the space before I've earned it. And that means that, when you need to get the massage because your body's hurting, it means giving yourself the massage, hopefully going and getting a massage, not giving it to yourself before you've earned it. Like, we are all busy. Everybody has too much going on. And it's just funny, from the outside, reading the label from outside the jar when somebody says, I don't have time to work on that, but that's essentially like, you have to give yourself the permission to work on something. Like, none of us have time for the gym. None of us have time for sleep and for being proactive. And that's what this journey is. I mean, it's learning to be uncomfortable before you're in pain. With that, many of you might know, but I lead a mentorship. I don't love the word program, to be honest, so that's why I don't use it. And it's highly personalized. I'm taking a handful of people in a fractional chief revenue officer capacity. And these are, high 6, low 7-digit range service level businesses. So doctors, lawyers, accountants, agency owners, creatives, coaches, consultants who are signing on clients and recognizing that they aren't reaching their potential, that they're, either working with clients that they've outgrown, they're dealing with problems that they've outgrown and are ready for new challenges, and they want to make more money doing less work. I have a group going right now, and it's a 6-month mentorship. It's 90%, 95% one-on-one. We kind of have unlimited access to each other. Well, you have unlimited access to me. We have, usually a bi-weekly session. Sometimes clients meet weekly. Sometimes I've met with clients every day for periods. And you have unlimited access to me during email, a voice note, text messages. And I'm really working with you to change that business growth cycle that you're in right now. You're vacillating about a lot of different opportunities and different pathways to go down, and you need someone to help you with this, all of the limiting beliefs and emotional hurdles that come with business development. It's really the most important part of the business, and so many of us put it towards the bottom of the list because it's hard. And, we look at big companies, like massive companies, even the head of sales is reporting to, a CEO or somebody who's challenging her or his limiting beliefs around what's possible and helping them stay focused. So that's what I do. I currently am taking a handful of people through it right now. We've had multiple 6-digit clients signed, multiple countless 5 and even 4-digit clients signed. People are challenging themselves to get outside of their comfort zone and signing on clients. I mean, this is a one client at a time type issue. We're not looking to, this isn't a marketing problem. It's really business development. It's, getting yourself in front of the right person and clearly asking for, the opportunity to talk to them about what you're doing. I want to leave you here with this. When you think about like the problems that you're trying to solve for your clients, I'm making this up. You are a consultant that is coming in to help clients grow their businesses. And you have to be able to do that for yourself. So for me, I'm not hiring somebody who is struggling in terms of doing the thing that I'm hiring them to do for me. I'm just not, And that doesn't mean, and this is really how I work, I am a human that is enjoying the human experience, but enduring the human experience is what I was going to say. And it's why I'm very vulnerable and open about things. No, I do not have a perfect life that has no problems and no discomfort. But I keep going. Every day, I make myself uncomfortable. Every single day, sometimes several times a day. I wrote an article about this recently, but it's called "Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be." Is it crazy to think that you're gonna have to be extremely uncomfortable to have that life that you want? No, that's the price of admission. I'll leave you with this. I knew a man once that was looking for, a book agent, and he flew himself out to, wherever, stood in front of their office, and that's how he got his book agent. And he, it was undoubtedly so uncomfortable. She had been dodging his calls for months, if not years. And then recently I was talking to somebody about a paid traffic strategy to my business, and it's kind of turning out that it's probably going to be like a 6-digit investment if I really, really, really want to test this and do it right, which would undoubtedly be like the biggest risk financially I've ever taken, because there is it's kind of like gambling. It might not work out, and you might have to put more money in to figure it out. And that, obviously is uncomfortable. Started thinking about it yeah, a 6-digit investment is uncomfortable to do something like that, as is getting on an airplane and flying out and standing in front of somebody's office. At the end of the day, a lot of the work that we're doing is in this mentorship it's called consistent client conversions. It's helping you see that you're going to need to get uncomfortable. You're upset that you've sent out 10 emails and nobody's gotten back to you. You sent 10 emails. You need to probably send 20 or 30 and follow up. And you will hear back from somebody. You absolutely will. All of these methods work. Like, you literally could stand out on a street corner with a sign, and if you do that long enough, somebody is going to stop and ask you about your sign and what it's talking about. But most of us give up. We try something for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, and we say, that's not working. I can't find that watering hole with all of those people that are just gonna stand there begging for me to talk to them about my services. We become the person in the process that attracts those clients. You know, there's been some negative review or negative comments, and I hate even saying this, I literally don't care. And you might be listening to that saying like, oh my God, this guy's lying. There was a time, not even that long ago, probably in the past, probably a year ago, I'm guessing, I don't know exactly, that I really would have cared about this. I don't. I literally don't care. If this piece would have been published a year ago, I might have, crawled in a hole and cried for a week. And the universe gave me what I could handle, and I could handle those negative comments because we're on to the next challenge. And I think a lot of people don't understand that when we're on this growth journey, when we're building something, it is just challenge after challenge after challenge. And that's why you're supposed to be doing what feels good to you, because if you like what you do, you will enjoy the challenge. I'll leave you there. This consistent client conversions mentorship starts in September. There are 6 seats only. Last time when I ran this, I approached 10 people. 5 of them decided to join, so this wasn't like something that I had to convince people with. It is a game changer, to have somebody like me. I've sold over $250 million in my career. I've worked with dozens of companies, managed sales teams, grown revenue. Never have I sold based off of being the lowest price. It's always, the service that we're offering an excellent service, and thus we need to get paid for it. Anyhow, grateful you're here with me. Check out the LA Times piece and wish me luck. Lucy's coming. Bye-bye.